Former President Obama didn't just attempt to remake his own past, but also the success America enjoyed in the aftermath of the Cold War. Watch.
The Washington consensus, whatever you want to call it, got a little too comfortable with, they're looking at GDP numbers and they're looking at, the internet, and everything's looking pretty great. And particularly after the Cold War, Jim, after what you guys engineered, you had this period of great smugness on the part of America and American elites thinking, we got this all figured out.
Joining me now, Reagan historian and author of Rendezvous with Destiny, Craig Shirley. Craig, you were particularly struck by former President Obama's historical illiteracy. Please explain.
Well, Laura, I can't understand why he wouldn't be smug about the winning of the Cold War. And we, in fact, won the Cold War. We didn't end the Cold War. But we freed millions of people formerly imprisoned behind the Iron Curtain. We tore down an evil empire. Ronald Reagan literally changed the world, and previous presidents, is that we should have been smug. I think one of the great failings when the wall finally fell and Gorbachev resigned of the George H.W. Bush administration is he never went on national television to explain to the American people why the anti-communist policies of Harry Truman, Dwight Eisenhower, John Kennedy, and every president going forward, and why the policies of why 55,000 boys didn't die in vain in Vietnam, why our vigil, our long twilight struggle against Soviet communism was important. It was a great struggle. Yes,
yeah, we'll
it was one of the great. Yes, exactly, and we should have been smug. We won. The good guys won, and the bad guys lost. We should have been smug.
No, you're smug today when you pass Obamacare, and then the website doesn't launch. Well, that's something to be really smug about. Craig, I got to play something else for you because I got to play something else for you because we don't have a ton of time. Identity politics was discussed at length last night, and this need for civility, like. We had civility during Obama, or in the recent past, and now we have no civility, apparently, because of Fox News, talk radio, and a few conservative websites. But this is what he said about identity politics and where it all began. Let's watch.
When I hear people say they don't like identity politics, they don't like... I think it's important to remember that identity politics doesn't just apply when it's black people or gay people or women.
No.
The folks who really originated identity politics were the folks who said, three-fifths clause and all that stuff. That was identity politics. Jim Crow was identity politics. That's where it started.
Thoughts there?
Well, he's just lost without his teleprompter, isn't he? Is that he talked about Jim Crow in the context of the American Revolution, is that Jim Crow was 100 years later, and without the framework that was created, the brilliance of the framers in Philadelphia in 1787, he never would have been elected president. We never would have had the chance to pass the 13th and 14th Amendments to the Constitution. So is that to attack the framers and founders as being admired in identity politics, the American Revolution was about escaping the identity politics of the British Empire, where British subjects had rights and American subjects had no rights. I can't think of any better example of identity politics than that.
Well, so he went to pretty good schools, right, Craig? I mean, he's incredibly well educated, and
well, did he crack a book?
Well, I mean, everyone complains. I'm saying all the things they complain about Trump. Well, he doesn't read enough history. He doesn't. All the things the elites come. Oh, he's narcissistic. He's thin-skinned. He's obsessed with his own. I mean, first of all, what person who runs for president, except for Reagan maybe, doesn't have an outsized ego? They all do. But for all the things they criticize Trump for, watching Obama last night, I mean, he's kind of a cool cat. He has a really cool approach. But come on, he's so mad about Trump's success. He is so enraged that things have gone really well in the economy. So he has to say, I did it. I find that to be, that's just not that mature for someone who fancies himself this mature, kind of elite, well-educated individual.
He said something curious, too. He said, well, nobody was indicted. Of course, you just went through a whole litany of the scandals that were attendant to the Obama 2 years, 8 years in office. One thing he overlooked was the criminal use of the IRS to shut down the hundreds of Tea Party groups around the country.
Learner, yes, but I didn't mention
okay,
it. You're right. Give me a break.
But he said nobody was indicted. It says that's like saying, well, I should go on Mount Rushmore because I didn't rob banks. I mean, that's not really, something to really boast about. Is to say, well, nobody was indicted.
Hey,
Craig,
you're not
has
the Nobel Committee ever been the same since President Obama won the Nobel Prize? I mean, that's still we just let that go. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, but you go back to Japan occupation by Douglas MacArthur. He deserved the Nobel Prize for that, and he never got it.
All right, Craig, thanks so much.